She stopped breathing. That's what the people in the front row would later tell reporters. Lucille Ball, the most famous woman in television, the queen of comedy who had made America laugh for 3 decades, simply stopped breathing. Her hand flew to her chest. Her legs buckled, and before anyone could reach her, she collapsed to her knees on the stage of the Los Angeles Children's Hospital Charity Gala. It was November 14th, 1985. But here's what the newspapers never reported. It wasn't a heart attack. It wasn't exhaustion. It wasn't the weight of being 74 years old and still performing. It was 3 words. 3 words spoken by a 7-year-old girl named Emma, who was sitting in the front row in a wheelchair, who hadn't spoken a single word in 14 days since her father died, and who chose that exact moment to break her silence. 3 words that would have meant nothing to anyone else in that room. 3 words that shattered 60 years of carefully constructed armor. 3 words that reached into Lucille Ball's chest and grabbed the wound she had been hiding since she was 3 years old. The audience gasped. Security rushed forward. Someone screamed for a doctor. But Lucy wasn't dying. She was doing something far more terrifying. She was feeling. For the first time in 6 decades, the woman who taught America how to laugh was about to teach them something else entirely. How to finally, completely break. What did a 7-year-old girl say that brought the most powerful woman in Hollywood to her knees? And why had Lucy been running from those words her entire life? To understand what happened that night, you need to understand who Lucille Ball really was. Not the Lucy everyone knew. Not the redhead who stuffed chocolates in her mouth and stomped grapes with her feet. Not the woman who made 60 million Americans laugh every Monday night. The other Lucy. The one she buried so deep that even her closest friends never saw her. Lucille Desiree Ball was born on August 6, 1911, in Jamestown, New York. Her father, Henry Durrell Ball, was a telephone lineman who adored her. Lucy's earliest memories were of sitting on his shoulders, feeling like she could touch the sky. He called her his little queen. He promised her he would always be there. He was 27 years old when he made that promise. He was 27 years old when he broke it. On February 28, 1915, Henry Ball collapsed in their home from typhoid fever. Lucy was 3 years old. She was in the next room when it happened. She heard her mother scream. She ran in and saw her father on the floor, not moving. She didn't understand. She kept pulling his hand, asking him to wake up. He never did. Lucy never got to say goodbye. She never got to hear his voice one last time. One moment her father was her entire world, and the next moment he was gone. Just like that. No warning. No explanation. Just absence. Her mother told her later that Lucy didn't cry at the funeral. She just stood there, holding her father's favorite tie, staring at the coffin like she was waiting for him to come out. For the next 70 years, Lucille Ball never spoke publicly about her father's death. Not once. She built an empire. She became the first woman to run a major television studio. She made the whole world laugh. But inside, there was still a 3-year-old girl standing at a coffin, waiting for her daddy to wake up. That little girl had been waiting for 70 years. And on November 14th, 1985, she was about to meet someone who understood exactly how she felt. The invitation had arrived 3 weeks earlier. The Los Angeles Children's Hospital was hosting its annual charity gala, and they wanted Lucille Ball to be the guest of honor. Lucy's assistant had already prepared the polite rejection. Lucy didn't do these events anymore. She was 74. She was tired. She had nothing left to prove. But then Lucy saw the photograph attached to the invitation. It was a picture of the children's ward. Rows of small beds. Tiny faces. Some smiling. Some not. And something about those faces made Lucy pause. She stared at the photograph for a long time. Then she did something she hadn't done in years. She said yes. Her team was worried. Lucy hadn't been herself lately. The death of her ex-husband Desi Arnaz, 3 years earlier, had changed something in her. She was quieter now, more distant. Sometimes her staff would find her sitting alone in her dressing room, staring at old photographs, her eyes somewhere far away. But Lucy insisted. She would do this one last event. The night of November 14th, Lucy arrived at the gala in a stunning red dress, the color she was famous for, the color that matched the fire in her hair. She smiled for the cameras. She shook hands with donors. She was Lucille Ball, and she was perfect. But backstage, her hands were shaking. She didn't know why. She had done this 1,000 times. But something felt different tonight. Something in the air. Something waiting. The ballroom was filled with 400 guests. Crystal chandeliers. White tablecloths. The smell of expensive perfume and champagne. And in the front row, reserved for the children from the hospital, sat a little girl in a wheelchair. She was 7 years old. Her name was Emma. She had brown hair and enormous eyes that seemed to hold something much older than 7 years. She wasn't smiling like the other children. She wasn't talking. She was just watching, waiting. Emma's mother sat beside her, holding her daughter's hand. It had been 14 days since Emma had spoken. 14 days since they buried her father. 14 days of complete silence. The doctors called it traumatic mutism. Emma's mother called it heartbreak. She had brought Emma tonight hoping that seeing Lucy, seeing something magical, might bring her daughter back. She had no idea what was actually about to happen. Lucy took the stage to thunderous applause. She smiled that famous smile. She opened her mouth to speak. And that's when she saw her. The little girl in the front row, who wasn't clapping, who wasn't smiling, who was just staring at Lucy like she could see straight through her. Lucy froze. The words she had prepared vanished from her mind. There was something about this girl. Something familiar. Something that made Lucy's heart start pounding in a way it hadn't in decades. She tried to look away, to focus on her speech, but her eyes kept drifting back to the child in the wheelchair. The audience waited. Lucy cleared her throat. She began her speech, the same words she had said at 100 charity events, but her voice sounded strange to her own ears. Hollow, like she was reading lines from a script she no longer believed in. And all the while, the little girl watched her, not blinking, not looking away, just watching. Halfway through her speech, Lucy made a decision she couldn't explain. She stopped talking. She set down her notes, and she walked off the stage, down the steps, directly toward the little girl in the front row. The audience murmured in confusion. Her handlers moved forward, unsure what was happening. But Lucy didn't stop. She knelt down in front of Emma's wheelchair, her red dress pooling on the floor around her. Up close, she could see the girl's face more clearly. The dark circles under her eyes, the way her small hands gripped the armrests, the absolute stillness of someone who had forgotten how to move through the world. Lucy spoke softly, just for Emma. "Hello, sweetheart. What's your name?" Emma didn't answer. Her mother leaned forward, whispering apologetically. "I'm so sorry, Miss Ball. She hasn't spoken in 2 weeks. Her father passed away." She just stopped talking. Lucy felt something shift inside her chest. She looked at Emma again, and this time she didn't see a stranger. She saw herself, a 3-year-old girl standing in a living room, watching her father on the floor, not understanding why he wouldn't wake up. "I understand," Lucy whispered. "I lost my daddy too, when I was even smaller than you." And then it happened. Emma's eyes widened, her lips parted, and for the first time in 14 days, she spoke. 3 words, quiet as a breath, but loud enough to shatter everything. "He misses you." The room went silent. Lucy's face went white. Her hand flew to her chest. She tried to stand, but her legs wouldn't work. She tried to speak, but no sound came out. Those 3 words had reached into her chest and pulled out something she had buried for 70 years. How did this child know? How could she possibly know? Lucy had never spoken about her father publicly. She had never told anyone how much she still missed him, how she still dreamed about him, how she still woke up some nights reaching for a hand that wasn't there. The tears came before Lucy could stop them. Not the graceful tears of a performer. The ugly, choking sobs of a woman who had been holding her breath for 6 decades. Her legs gave out. She sank to her knees on the ballroom floor, right there in front of 400 guests, right there in front of the cameras, right there in front of a 7-year-old girl who had just spoken for the first time in 2 weeks. Emma reached out her small hand and touched Lucy's face. Her fingers were gentle, like butterfly wings. And then she said something else, something that would change both of their lives forever. "He said to tell you it's okay to cry now." Lucy completely broke. For what felt like an eternity, no one moved. 400 people sat frozen in their seats, watching the most famous woman in television kneel on the floor, sobbing into her hands, while a 7-year-old girl in a wheelchair gently stroked her hair. It was the most human moment any of them had ever witnessed. And not a single person reached for a camera. Some moments are too sacred to capture. Lucy's handlers rushed forward, ready to escort her away, to protect her from the embarrassment of being seen like this. But Lucy waved them off. She wasn't embarrassed. For the first time in 70 years, she wasn't hiding. She looked up at Emma through her tears, mascara running down her cheeks, her perfect image completely destroyed. And she smiled. "How did you know, sweetheart?" Lucy whispered, "How did you know about my daddy?" Emma tilted her head, as if the question confused her. "He told me. He's standing right behind you. He's been waiting a long time to talk to you." Lucy's breath caught in her throat. She didn't turn around. She didn't need to. She could feel something warm on her shoulder, like a hand that wasn't quite there, like a memory that had finally found its way home. Emma's mother was crying now, her hand pressed over her mouth. Her daughter had spoken. After 14 days of silence, her daughter had spoken. And not just words. These words. Impossible words. Healing words. Lucy slowly rose to her feet. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, smearing her makeup even more. She didn't care. She turned to the audience, 400 faces staring at her with a mixture of shock and awe and something that looked like love. "I'm sorry," Lucy said, her voice raw. "I didn't expect. I never thought." She stopped, took a breath, and started again. "When I was 3 years old, my father died. I never got to say goodbye. I spent my whole life making people laugh, because I was afraid if I stopped, I would have to feel how much I missed him. I buried that little girl so deep I forgot she existed." She looked back at Emma. But this child found her. This beautiful, brave little girl who lost her own daddy and stopped talking because the pain was too big for words. She found a part of me I've been hiding for 70 years. Lucy knelt again, taking Emma's small hands in her own. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for giving my father's message to me. And thank you for reminding me that some things are more important than being strong." Emma squeezed Lucy's hands. And then she did something she hadn't done in 14 days. She smiled. The audience erupted. Not in applause. In tears. 400 strangers crying together, witnessing something that couldn't be explained, only felt. 2 broken hearts, 67 years apart in age, healing each other in the middle of a charity gala. And the night was far from over. After the gala ended, Lucy didn't go home. She took Emma and her mother to a private room backstage. They talked for 3 hours. Lucy told Emma about her father, about the way he used to carry her on his shoulders, about the promise he made that he couldn't keep. Emma told Lucy about her father, about how he used to sing her to sleep, about the car accident that took him away, without warning. 2 girls who lost their fathers, separated by 67 years, connected by a wound that never fully healed. Before they parted that night, Lucy took off the pearl necklace she was wearing. It had belonged to her mother. It was one of the only things she had left from her childhood. She placed it around Emma's neck. "This is yours now," Lucy said. "Whenever you miss your daddy, hold these pearls and remember that you're not alone. I'll be missing mine right alongside you." Lucy kept her promise. Over the next 3 years, she called Emma every single month. She sent birthday cards. She paid for Emma's therapy. She flew Emma and her mother to Los Angeles twice a year to visit. She became the grandmother Emma never had. But something else changed too. Lucy started talking about her father in interviews. For the first time in her career, she let the world see the wound she had been hiding. In a 1986 interview, she said something that made headlines around the world. "I spent 70 years being strong. I spent 70 years making people laugh, so they wouldn't see me cry. And then a 7-year-old girl in a wheelchair reminded me that strength isn't about hiding your pain. It's about letting someone see it and trusting that they won't look away." People who knew Lucy said she was different after that night. Softer, more present, more willing to let people in. The wall she had spent a lifetime building had finally come down, and it took a child to do what no therapist, no friend, no lover had ever been able to do. She found the 3-year-old girl Lucy had abandoned at her father's coffin, and she brought her home. Lucille Ball passed away on April 26, 1989, just 3.5 years after that night. She was 77 years old. When Emma heard the news, she was 11. She held the pearl necklace Lucy had given her and cried for 3 days. Emma is 46 years old now. She lives in Northern California with her husband and 2 daughters. Her oldest daughter is named Lucy. On her bedroom wall hangs a framed photograph of her and Lucille Ball, taken backstage at the charity gala in 1985. 2 faces, both smiling, both finally at peace. Emma became a child grief counselor. She has spent her entire adult life helping children who have lost parents find their voices again, just like Lucy helped her find hers. Every year on November 14th, Emma lights a candle and watches an old episode of I Love Lucy with her daughters. She tells them the story of the night she met the queen of comedy, the night she spoke for the first time in 2 weeks, the night 2 broken hearts healed each other. Lucy taught me something I never forgot, Emma says now. She taught me that the strongest people aren't the ones who never break. They're the ones brave enough to let someone see them shatter. If this story moved you, subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear that it's okay to break. Sometimes our deepest wounds become our greatest gifts. What moment changed your life forever? Share your story in the comments. And remember, someone out there might need to hear it.